Hello, welcome back to We Know Anime. It's time to talk about Eren again. This will be the continuation of the previous video. In this video, we will look into Eren's psychological development from the lowest to the highest to discover how much he had improved himself through the time span of a few months only. Let's watch and see how edgelord Eren became Chat Eren, shall we?
At the end of the day, Eren was exhausted by the heat of the battle and fatigued from being overly hyped with killing titans. Also, from his long-lasting wrath with Barefoot and Ruler, the death of his friend, Harness, acted as a final blow that shattered Eren's spirit and reminded him that he will still be as useless as ever if he doesn't know what to prioritize. As usual, although Mikasa was there to support him physically, Eren was still emotionally unstable and had to deal alone with his inner complex. Mikasa's words lightened up his mood and reminded him of an old promise he had made to his dead mother. Finally, for the first time in years, Eren realized the importance of Mikasa's presence in his life, and that gave him the strength to stand up again and fight. Sometimes I feel like Mikasa is a scene for Eren, guys. And here I am, simping for her while she poured her affection on Eren. Damn it, I kinda understand Jin's feelings now. Mikasa, please notice me too. Nope, I have noticed Miss Senpai syndrome with 2D characters. After fleeing from Rainer, Barefoot, and Giants, Eren realized how much his life was worth and gradually became less impulsive. The cost of bringing him home was the death of over 100 soldiers. The survivor's guilt weighed on him and urged him to repay their sacrifice. The main difference between this Eren and Eren from a few weeks ago was that the new Eren became humble for receiving others' help. In the old days, Eren would rarely thank other people, even ones that helped him passionately like Mikasa, and he always lamented the weeping life lost rather than accepting their death, putting it on his shoulder and enduring it. With this new mannerism, Eren unconsciously started thinking that he was special and thus becoming more calculative to suit his image as a representative of special ones.
The crucial point was that, in a way, Eren was actually special, not because of his personality or mindset or ideology or dream, but because of his unique ability. With the power as a base, Eren slowly developed himself to be someone who is special in a general way.
The recognition of his own uselessness motivated him the most. From every second ticking away, the reminder of the importance of his life continued to place an increasingly massive burden on Eren's psyche throughout the arc. It was difficult for him not to find himself useless when he spent most of his part hiding or being forced into a sheltered place for safety, while people continued to die for him outside. Especially with his own growing perception of himself being special, this imbalance between his ideal and reality pushed him into a deep psychological pit and gave rise to a lot of self-awareness for himself in the near future. Historia is the person who helped him overcome these difficult emotions and is the mainstay of the mental support he really needed at that time.
Now, for the most crucial key to Erens Psychology, he learned that his beloved family was actually a threat to mankind. Someone who treasured his family and had the revenge as a form of motivation to fight like him by then had completely broken down from this realization.
That day, the battle ended in the death of the Levi team, an event that's left a great scar in his soul. Along with the truth about his father, by then Eren's mental state was on the brink and was ready to collapse. After getting to know about his father's sins, Eren was devastated, and for the first time in his life, he gave up. He decided to abandon the dream of seeing the outside world along with the ambition to escape from that world. He lost himself in the emotional burden and selfishly asked Historia to eat him and stop his misery. This mental breakdown triggered Historia's discomforts and angered her quickly, even though she was the one of the sweetest characters in AOT. Historia tried to convince him to stand up and fight again. She also admitted that she had been jealous of Eren for a while because of his ability to overcome hardships and learn something further. Her word touched his heart, and Eren nearly acknowledged that his actions were more influential to others than he thought. So he tried to compose himself to fight again. In that moment, Eren truly became the person that was worthy of his power and other people's admiration. When facing his teammates, he cried out in desperation and begged them to give him one last chance to save them, not only to prove himself actually worthy of their sacrifices, but also to give them a gleam of hope that one day he would profoundly become someone they could rely on. He actually succeeded and gave his friends a new hope. This achievement was very relevant to who Eren desired to become as a child, and the feeling of being able to reach his ideal broke the limit of his self-consciousness that was heretofore centric to himself and his beliefs alone.
It should be noted that although Eren seemed to have passed the edgelord stage, the one of his psyche continued to be in control of him and he got consumed by it with acceptance. He could only choose to let go of it all and whether or start over and move forward to become what mankind strive for. Eren chose the second option and turned his extravagance and personality into a quality of incredible assertiveness later on in the story.
Let's continue with storytelling time on Eren's inner adventure. After the events in Orver District, the corps then focused on reclaiming the land behind the Mariel War. With the revived determination of regaining what was lost, Eren faced the traitors of his trust again. When confronted with the possibility of them meeting Reiner and Bedford, he calmly declared that his duty was to prevent them from ruining the plan even if they had to murder them, this time for utilitarian purpose. In the past, Eren showed severe disgust towards the Hidden Titans. But by the time they met again, he calmed himself and put his hatred aside. The utilitarian approach to the situation inspired Eren to control his emotion for a better purpose, and how to turn anger into the will to fight. To finally confront his responsibilities as someone with unique power, Eren had to acknowledge that he wasn't special by his personality or ideology or lifestyle. He had to know that he was just a normal human being pulled into a special path. And there wasn't many options for him to choose, but either accepting with the responsibilities for his power or running away like a coward. And for someone as brave and aggressive as Eren, he hated this option. The acceptance of his nominees made him humbler and more dignified. Because of this, he was buried in a furnace when he had to carry a special power and thought hard about what he should do to maximize its advantages. Eren knew that others were also involved in his process of developing himself, ones that had their lives on the thread. They protected Eren's safety so he could make his contribution to mankind. Eren understood this perfectly and stopped making a fuss about people's death. He was finally able to start thinking of himself as the only one who had to shoulder the heavy responsibility. And it gave him the motivation to become stronger with everyone. This new psychology of Eren made his quarrel with Jean in chapter 72 become more meaningful when we think a little further. Not only did he show concern for Jean whom he once hated so much, he actually admitted his problematic views and was willing to accept Mikasa's help with pushing her away like before. For a short speculation, it was unknown whether Eren has quitted his inferiority complex or still had it. But it was very likely that he had gained his confidence with the spatial power and stopped getting jealous with Mikasa. Seriously, his poor attitude to her was only the result of childish envy, and he openly admitted in front of Mikasa that he envied both her and Levi. Moreover, he realized that such envy had no pragmatic purpose. And Eren said that he spent too much time worrying about trivialities instead of cooperating with his stronger teammates to achieve something. With this realization, Eren strengthened the bond of his friendship and showed small behaviors with great significance about how he had improved as a friend. He publicly apologized to Mikasa for being a burden for her within the past 3 months. At the moment when Eren had to face an important operation, Armin calmed Eren and strengthened his beliefs about the importance of having other people by his side.
In summary, he was aware that he couldn't achieve anything on his own. All the lessons Eren had from his military experience transformed up his personality into a combination of everything he looked up for and prepared him for the future.
His confrontation with Reiner and Bedford was the ultimate threshold for all the inner development he had as a character to this point. Despite his disdain and indignation, Eren can still control his emotion and didn't give the Hidden Titans any advantages. This allows him to finally show his true strength and defeat Reiner. The small glimpse of Eren remaining his old personality was only shown when Armin was in danger and needed the serum to save his life. The possibility of Armin dying validated his actions, especially when their friendship had become stronger than ever. The reveal of the mystery basement added a big change to Eren's personality. The truth of the war, combined with Grisha's memories, began to activate in Eren's mind and led to semi-paralysis of his mental health as Eren's defensive mechanism tried to convince himself that the reason for his anger was right. For a moment, Eren came back to his old self again, being stubborn again. Although he had become much more mature and always developed himself for better, the way he behaved in the past will always accompany Eren's psyche. What seems to have changed was only a revolution of Eren's worldview and mindset. As a person who was torn between his old and new self, Eren became more and more aware of his previous defects and strived to escape from them. By chapter 19, Eren showed signs of psychological disorder and was likely to fall into depression. All the events that had occurred since his death keep putting pressure on him until he could no longer cope with them. When he finally saw the beach, which was one of his dreams when he was young, he still could not show his happy attitude. Eren is tired of fighting, seeing death, experiencing misery. The freedom he had been struggling for had a fairly expensive price to exchange. Consequently, Eren's moods ruined Armin and Mikasa's moods, and both of them expresses deep concerns in Eren's health and psychology. For the past 6 years, they had always been worrying about one another. Even when their friend could be a bit annoying sometimes, they still supported him with passion. This proves that even though there were many shortcomings, Eren was always someone worth trusting. This trip to the sea was also a way to complete the old promise that all three will go to the beach.
Now, let's talk about the measure Eren present after overcoming that mental pit. Nobody can be sad and maudlin forever.
Although still somewhat psychologically imbalanced, the mature version of Eren after going through his phase of depression got himself a calm personality, one that was able to show sympathy and compassion, even to enemies. Eren's relationships with Falco was built on his previous experiences back home and the similarities of Falco to his younger self. Perhaps because Eren had to let go of his past self when standing next to Falcon. We can sort of compare the differences of Eren in the past and the present. Now, his approach to the situation makes him look like a completely different character. To the point where some people really question whether it is Eren anymore. I would say that it's still Eren, definitely Eren, just a quick evolution in the mind. If someone followed the latest chapters of manga, they would have seen that Eren's goals have changed so much from the beginning. Eren's enemies are now other humans who created a source of titans that attack their own mankind. Which means he will have to cultivate more thoughts in order to confront them. Because unlike titans who mostly only use violence, the minds of those other humans are much more sinister and wicked. In the past, Eren didn't like Historia because he thought she was fake, but now admits that her flexible behavior is very reasonable. Not only did he change 180 degrees in the worldview and personality, but Eren also changed in the way he establishes the relationships. He pushes his friend further out in his way, not because he doesn't trust them, but because he feels he can't pull them along his plan forever. Moreover, if Eren was caught in the emotional depth of clinging to his close friends, he could not venture into the entire cave to lure the enemy out. That is only my speculation, but it seems like Eren wants to keep them safe because he is rooting for a much bigger plan to change the world.
Despite all of this, one thing unchanged in Eren is the intense desire for freedom and the desire to rise up and reach a dream of freedom where everyone can decide their own lives with their own will. I believe Eren has a plan when it comes to making current decisions. Let's follow the guy's journey to see how much more he will go. Thank you for watching the video to the end. If you enjoy, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We will see you all in the next video.